Congratulations, you have been dropped into a medieval battle, which is basically the worst group project in history. Everyone has weapons, nobody smells good, and the only instructions are stand over there and try not to die. Before a single sword swings, survival already depends on luck. Shoes, whether anyone gave you a helmet, and whether the person beside you knows which end of the spear is the dangerous end. The first thing to understand is that most people in a medieval army were not movie heroes with perfect hair and dramatic theme music. A lot of them were farmers, townsmen, hired fighters, or unlucky people who were told to show up because some lord with a flag was having problems. Some people had spears, some had axes, some had swords if they were lucky, and someone, somewhere, definitely brought a farming tool and hoped confidence would cover the rest. Armor sounds amazing, and for rich people, it actually was. A wealthy knight might ride into battle looking like a metal soup can on a horse. That kind of armor could protect against cuts, arrows, and a lot of bad decisions. But if you were poor, your armor situation might be a padded jacket, a helmet, and the comforting thought that fabric is technically better than nothing. Not good, just better than arriving in a shirt and optimism. Before the fighting starts, everyone lines up in formations. This is not just for decoration. One nervous person with a spear is a problem. A whole line of people with spears becomes a sharp wooden fence with anxiety. Staying in formation could save your life because the group protects each other. Wandering away from the line like a confused tourist is one of the fastest ways to become a historical footnote. And the battlefield itself is already working against you. Medieval battles did not happen on clean, flat video game maps. There was mud, rocks, broken arrows, uneven ground, horse mess, dropped weapons, and people shouting orders that probably sounded like a goat arguing with a drum. Just walking across the field without slipping could be a challenge. Fighting on it was even worse. Then come the drums, horns, shouting, and panic. Communication was terrible. There were no radios, no phones, no group chats, and no calm GPS voice saying, "In 20 feet, avoid the cavalry charge." If a commander yelled something important, half the army might not hear it, and the other half might hear it wrong. In battle, confusion was not a small problem. It was part of the weather. The first real danger might be arrows. Archers could launch volleys before the armies even touched. A shield helped, armor helped. Standing behind someone larger helped emotionally, even if it was not an official military strategy. The worst plan was looking up at the arrows like they were interesting weather. If arrows are falling from the sky, curiosity is not a survival skill. Could one arrow instantly ruin your entire day? Yes, but arrows were not magic laser beams. Distance mattered, armor mattered, shields mattered, the angle mattered, luck mattered a lot. The smart move was keeping your shield up, keeping your head down, and not posing dramatically in the open like a statue nobody asked for. If the armies finally crash together, the battle stops looking like a clean sword duel and starts looking like a crowded hallway fight during a fire drill. People push, trip, scream, swing weapons, shove with shields, and sometimes hit allies by mistake. Personal space disappears. Balance becomes survival. The main goal is staying on your feet, staying with the group, and not becoming part of the floor. Swords look cool, but spears were often more useful. A spear gives reach. It works well in groups. It lets a nervous person help without standing nose to nose with someone named Sir Neck Chopper. In many medieval battles, the humble pointy stick was doing serious overtime. A sword might be famous, but a spear was simple, cheap, and very good at telling enemies to stay over there. Then cavalry arrives, and the survival quiz gets rude. A charging horse with a knight on top is basically a medieval delivery truck with anger issues. If a formation holds steady, long spears can stop or slow a charge. But if everyone panics and runs, the battlefield turns into bowling, and the horse is not the one getting knocked over. The safest place is usually not the front. Unfortunately, medieval armies did not hand out cozy back row tickets. The front row gets the most danger. The back row gets confusion. The middle gets crushed by everyone's fear, elbows, and terrible life choices. Wherever you stand, the battlefield has officially canceled personal comfort. Movies love one-on-one duels, but real battles were rarely that polite. Nobody waited their turn like a fencing class. Someone could attack from the front, side, behind, or through a gap in the line. The most dangerous enemy might not be the one right in front of you. It might be the one nobody noticed until the worst possible second. That is why shields were not just decoration. A shield could block hits, push enemies, protect against arrows, and make a person feel slightly less doomed. Even a basic wooden shield could be the difference between still participating and having a very bad afternoon. If survival is the goal, dropping the shield to look cool is not the move. Helmets were just as important. Heads are useful, especially if the plan is to keep thinking thoughts. Many fighters could not afford full armor, but even a simple helmet could protect against arrows, clubs, falling rocks, or one very enthusiastic person with a hammer. In a medieval battle, protecting the head was not optional. It was the entire brain department. Now add weather. Rain makes the ground slippery, bowstrings weaker, armor heavier, and everyone's mood worse. Mud can slow charges, trap feet, and turn running away into a tragic little dance. Even the sky could join the enemy team. Medieval battle survival was about enemies, terrain, weather, and your own tired ankles. Hunger and exhaustion mattered too. Battles could happen after long marches, terrible sleep, and meals that barely deserved to be called food. Imagine trying to survive a fight after walking for miles in uncomfortable shoes and eating bread so hard it could be used as a construction material. A tired fighter is slower, clumsier, and much more likely to make the kind of mistake historians describe politely. Training changes everything. A trained soldier knows where to stand, how to hold a weapon, when to move, and when not to do something stupid. An untrained person mostly knows how to blink nervously while holding a spear backward. That is not ideal. Training does not make someone invincible, but it does turn panic into something slightly more organized. Commanders mattered because armies needed organization. A good commander could choose better ground, keep troops steady, protect weak points, and avoid walking everyone into disaster. A bad commander might point toward a hill full of archers and say, "That looks fine." History was not kind to that energy. Bad leadership could destroy an army before the enemy even finished warming up. Terrain could decide who survived. High ground gave better visibility and stronger positions. Forests could hide troops. Rivers could trap people. Open fields were good for cavalry. Hills, mud, water, trees, and narrow paths were not just background scenery. The land itself was an unpaid battle participant, and sometimes it was the most important one. Sieges were a different kind of nightmare. Instead of one big battle, a castle siege could mean weeks of waiting, hunger, disease, boredom, and the occasional giant rock flying through the air. Surviving a siege required patience, supplies, clean water, and the basic wisdom to not stand under the obvious target. A castle wall might look safe, but everything around it was still trying to become a problem. Castle walls help defenders a lot. Being above the enemy is useful when the enemy has to climb ladders while being poked, pushed, shot at, and judged from above. Attackers had to deal with arrows, rocks, boiling rumors, and the emotional damage of realizing ladders are terrible during combat. Climbing upward while people above you strongly disagree is not a relaxing activity. Injuries were dangerous not only during the battle, but after it. Medieval medicine had some useful knowledge, but it also had plenty of good luck with that energy. Infection was a huge threat. A wound that seemed survivable could become deadly later. Surviving the fight was step one. Surviving the next week was the bonus round nobody advertised. The smartest survival move might be not fighting at all. Running away sounds cowardly until a horse, 3 arrows, and a man with an axe enter the conversation. But running too early could get punished, and running too late could get someone trampled. Timing mattered. Survival was not always about bravery. Sometimes it was about knowing when bravery had turned into bad math. Ransom was another strange part of medieval warfare. Important nobles could be captured and exchanged for money. A captured knight might become a financial opportunity. Regular poor fighters usually did not have that luxury. If a noble got captured, someone might negotiate. If a random peasant got captured, the paperwork was not looking promising. So, what actually improves the odds? A helmet, a shield, a spear, training, formation, a good commander, decent shoes, and a deep personal friendship with luck. Not being in the front row also helps. Medieval survival was not about being a superhero. It was about making fewer terrible choices than everyone nearby. What could lower the odds? Charging alone, dropping the shield, standing under arrows, insulting cavalry, ignoring orders, wearing sandals in mud, and believing confidence can stop metal. Medieval battles punished overconfidence very quickly. There was no tutorial mode, no health bar, no pause menu, and absolutely no respawn button. Could an average modern person survive? Maybe, but the odds are not great. Modern people know about germs, sandwiches, and phone chargers, but none of that helps much when a medieval formation starts moving forward. Gym confidence disappears quickly when the other team brings horses, spears, and sharp farming equipment. The best strategy is boring but effective. Stay with the group, keep the shield up, protect the head, listen for commands, avoid hero moments, do not chase anyone alone, do not wander off, do not look at falling arrows like they are a science project. Medieval battle survival is basically teamwork, caution, and trying very hard not to become a cautionary example. Final verdict. Surviving a medieval battle is possible, but it should not be added to a weekend bucket list. With armor, training, formation, good leadership, and luck, the chances improve. Without those, the average person becomes battlefield decoration. So yes, survival is possible. Easy? Absolutely not. So if you ever get dropped into a medieval battle, remember the golden rule: keep your shield up, stay with the group, and never trust a horse with a running start.